Cool Bro 1 here. Recently, I took my brother to go see the new Kung Fu Panda 4 movie. My initial impression was that I enjoyed the movie, but it nonetheless left an underwhelming void in my gut. Like, I had fun, but I knew there would be a bunch of hate videos on YouTube about this movie, and boy, did those hate videos come. This movie has the reputation of being mid and disappointing, and some people even called it outright awful and bad. Even when the movie does receive praise, it usually doesn't go beyond being called okay, or at most, good, but not great. So where does my opinion lie? This is Two Cool Bros, and here is why Kung Fu Panda 4 is the oxymoron I like to call enjoyable trash. Let's start off with the characters. So the characters in this movie are kind of a mixed bag. Thankfully, the main character, Po, is great as always. I like how they didn't nerf him because he should be very powerful by now, and he is, as he skillfully caught Zhen as well as punched through the floor to escape the chameleon's cage. Though there is the criticism of Po carrying around Oogway's staff for the majority of the movie, but never really using it unless the plot absolutely demanded for it to happen, including in his fight with the chameleon where he had the staff, but didn't really use it that much until the writers deemed he should, despite, being able to use it at any time at all. And it's very powerful. Like, there's no reason that he should not have been using that staff, for the most of the fight, or, at the start of the fight. Master Shifu's job this time around is to push Po into finding a successor. Aside from that, he appears as voices in Po's head a few times. His role in the movie is relatively small compared to past films, but is serviceable enough. That being said, I don't understand why Shifu is so adamantly insistent that Po hurry up and find a successor. Po is still in his prime. There's really no rush for him to give up on his title as the Dragon Warrior, especially considering he's not at all prepared to take on the position as the Valley's spiritual leader. Let my man live a little and acquire old man wisdom gradually. Then when he's nearing the end of his prime, then he can take Oogway's position and give the Dragon Warrior title to someone else. If the movie insisted on doing this concept in some way, they could have had Shifu be the one that needs to retire. That would make a lot more sense considering Shifu has to be getting up there in years. He was in his prime when he was raising Tai Lung from a little cub for all those years, and then Tai Lung went into prison, and then another 20 years passed before the events of Kung Fu Panda 1, and God knows how long it's been between Kung Fu Panda 1 and Kung Fu Panda 4. So the point is, Shifu's old, and it makes sense that Po would have to fill his position before he fills Oogway's, because Oogway was at the very tippity top. This would justify the rush for Po to change positions since Shifu needs to retire, and Shifu supposedly was in his prime when he started his position, so the same could apply to Po as well. I get why they want Po to change positions as a concept and give up his title as Dragon Warrior as a concept, because each movie had Po grow and grow and grow. So they don't want him to remain stagnant at all, but I think the movie's base concept definitely could have used some more polishing. Po's new partner is Zhen, a thieving gray fox. She's gray because, she's morally gray, she's a thief, but she's still gonna help out Po, yada yada yada. And she's okay enough. She has this arc of joining Po, then betraying Po, then betraying the chameleon and joining Po again. The classic, my master's a jerk, so maybe I should partner with the hero I just betrayed after all. It's nothing special, but it works well enough, and at least the dramatic moment of Zhen repenting and trying to stop Po from being killed. My main criticism of Zhen is that I feel like the movie could have done more to show that she's deserving of being the next Dragon Warrior. I don't recall her outright renouncing theft or showing a desire to live life as a truly selfless and benevolent hero. Her drive to take down the chameleon was personal after all, since she was her abusive mentor, though Zhen's heroism is something that they could go deeper into in Kung Fu Panda 5 if they decide to continue making Kung Fu Panda 5 after the criticism that Kung Fu Panda 4 has been receiving. Po's dads, Mr. Ping and Li Shan, have a subplot about following their son out of concern. This is a little confusing as you think they know by now that Po is more than capable of handling himself. They come across as overprotective, but they do end up saving Po, so I guess they were justified. But this whole subplot Was it justified in general? Well, on one hand, Mr. Pig and Li Shan do have some funny and amusing moments. My favorite of which being when Li Shan comes to save Mr. Pig by intimidating the animals in the restaurant, claiming he taught Po everything he knows except mercy. But in terms of the overall story, they really don't contribute that much, and the writers could have prioritized better storytelling over their subplot, even if I do appreciate the comedy that their subplot provided. Then there's the villain of the story, the chameleon. The chameleon, the chameleon, the chameleon. Oh, the chameleon. Unpopular opinion, I actually kinda like the chameleon, but that doesn't mean all the criticism she's been getting has been any less valid. Firstly, she's the only Kung Fu Panda villain to not have an intimidating presence throughout the entire film. Before the film's climax, the most threatening thing we see her do is push a dude down the stairs as an elephant. It's a darn shame because I actually think that opening scene was really good up until that point. Like, to actually make it more threatening, the chameleon should have pushed that dude down a cliff and killed him instead of just pushing him down some stairs that's mostly a joke. You know. Next, the chameleon's motivations are very stupid in the context of Kung Fu Panda. She's evil because, she wants to steal everyone's Kung Fu because she was turned down from every dojo because she was too small, apparently. So, yeah. In a world where snakes and bugs and chickens can all be legendary Kung Fu masters, how are we supposed to believe that no one, not a single soul, saw potential in her just because of her size? Like, Master Mantis and Viper exist. Come on now. The Furious Five, those two members. Shifu's not even that big either. Like, seriously. It would have made a lot more sense to just say that the chameleon sucked and had no natural talent for Kung Fu, leaving her to eventually give up on becoming a Kung Fu master in a fair way, leading her to come up with this scheme of stealing everyone's Kung Fu powers from the spirit realm and all that crap. That would have made a lot more sense, and not only that, but it would actually have drawn a parallel between the chameleon and Po, because Po was also underestimated at first. You know, I could have actually connected them thematically like this. They were both underestimated, but Po, continued to work hard, and eventually people believed in him and whatnot. But the chameleon, she got discouraged, she gave up, and she just decided to take the easy way out. It could have been thematic, it could have been brilliant, but it's just so much missed potential. Speaking of Po, the chameleon is nowhere close to being Po's greatest villain. They were trying to hype up the chameleon as, nothing like anybody you've ever faced. She's the most powerful, shape-shifting sorceress. The chameleon, no. She's not nearly the most threatening villain. In fact, arguably, she's the least threatening villain Po's ever faced. Because all the other villains put up a huge fight before going down, resisting till the very end. The chameleon kind of just goes down pretty easily. He just kind of goes down to that staff pretty easily, and yeah, it's just kind of anticlimactic. I will say the chameleon does have a nice voice actor. She's very well voice acted. I do think, that this is unpopular opinion, I do think the chameleon does have some charisma and some charm to her. But she just wasn't as compelling or threatening as she could have been. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame that the first female Kung Fu Panda villain of a movie is the worst villain. Because honestly, I hate to say this, but Kai, low-key, was better written. Even though I have my own problems with Kai. And his backstory and how the pieces are all there, but it didn't really come together quite right, and we have to kind of fill in the blanks and whatnot. But that's for another time. But yeah, the chameleon could have been better. One thing I will say about this movie is, this is another unpopular opinion, but honestly, the Furious Five, I'm not really that upset that they didn't play a major role in the movie and were only used for the end credits, really. Because, let's be honest, the Furious Five, kind of trash. And don't get me wrong, I really like the Furious Five, conceptually. They're really cool. It's great that they're all based off of different styles of Kung Fu that they're named after according to their animal names. That's really dope. But man, when the chips are down, when the villain is up, the Furious Five get folded, man. They got folded by Tai Lung, captured by Lord Shen, folded and captured by General Kai. If they were in this movie, if they were in Kung Fu Panda 4, their only purpose, honestly, would be getting captured by the chameleon and having their Kung Fu power stolen. That's what they would amount to. So the Furious Five are very dope. You know, they're very cool characters. They're very good conceptual concepts. But the writers always use them to hype up the villain by being all like, oh no, the Furious Five can't beat the villain. Oh, we're going to make Poe look better in comparison when he finally beats the villain. And that worked fine for the first movie. But as they kept doing it, it kind of makes the Furious Five look like trash. Like, give the Furious Five some wins. Give them some dubs. Like, in Kung Fu Panda 5, if they bring back Furious 5, maybe make them be the ones to land the finishing blow on the villain for once, you know? So, Furious 5, honestly, they don't contribute that much to the Kung Fu Panda movies. They were at their peak in the first movie. Then in the second movie, it was really just Tigers that really contributed to, like, the story and whatnot. Then in the third movie, the Furious 5 just get captured by a Kai, and then Tigers goes and cries to Poe and is like, Poe, please tell me that you've lured Chi. Please, Kai, he captured everyone. You're our only hope, and it's just Furious 5. They deserve better. They do deserve better, but like, I honestly don't see them contributing much to this movie. So that's something, you know, I won't duck the movie for. It's, you know, it's okay that the Furious 5 weren't in this movie. And now it's time we talk about probably the most disappointing thing about Kung Fu Panda 4. How they handled the villains. Specifically, how they handled Tai Lung. The marketing for this movie is extremely misleading to the point of being downright deceitful and disingenuous. They put my boy Tai Lung, the OG Kung Fu Panda villain, on these posters. They used him in advertisement. They made him seem like he was going to play a major part in the movie based off of the trailers. And he ends up only having a few lines, only doing a little bit, and then just leaving. Like, we were hoping for a whole redemption arc for this man. A whole redemption arc. I'm talking Shifu and Tai Lung making up. I'm talking about Tai Lung righting his wrongs, making up for the things he's done, for the valley that, you know, he destroyed and whatnot. Becoming friends with Poe, etc., etc., etc. A whole redemption arc, because Tai Lung is one of the best candidates for a redemption arc. There's a lot of bad redemption arcs out there, Steven Universe, but Tai Lung, man, could have had an awesome redemption arc, and they blew it. I mean, he kind of repents a little at the end and acknowledges Poe as the Dragon Warrior, but it's very half-baked. It would have been better if he was just a major part of the overarching story and plot. If he wasn't going to play a major role in the movie, they should not have put him on those posters. That was nostalgia bait, that was disingenuous, that was deceitful, that was dishonest. And yeah, Tai Lung fans like myself were very disappointed because who filled our head with dreams? Who made us wait for this movie till our bones cracked? Who denied us our masterpiece? DreamWorks did. So yeah, poor Tai Lung. He deserved better. And the other villains, the other past villains, they got done dirty too. I'm not gonna lie. There's Lord Shen, who doesn't get any lines, they didn't bother to bring back the voice actor, and they have him bowing at Poe at the end, which is complete bullcrap because Lord Shen was Poe's personal villain. I highly doubt that he would willingly bow to Poe without saying a single word. I can maybe buy that he, chilled out a little bit in the spirit realm, but chilling out to the point of straight up bowing down to Poe, who he was obsessed with murdering and who he murdered all of Poe's species, or most of Poe's species, and killed his mother and all that, and I don't know, that doesn't sound right. Then there's Kai, General Kai, who honestly shouldn't even be in this movie at all because he was supposed to be disintegrated, In the third movie, Poe gave him so much chi that he kind of blew up in the spirit realm. So he should be dead. Not like dead, but like destroyed dead. Like his soul should be deleted from the plane of reality. And for some reason, General Kai is back? And how did he chill out? Like, we don't see any of this. Like, we ask the viewers, we can't be expected to keep filling in these blanks. How did Tai Lung, Shen, and Kai all chill out in the spirit realm? How? We're not given any explanation. We're not shown any exposition. I don't know. And also I have to also acknowledge that the villains were upset with Poe because, Poe's incompetence in letting the chameleon take his staff of wisdom and whatnot is what led to them all getting captured and had all their kung fu stolen. So Poe fixing his mistake, how would that lead them to respect him? Like, he caused this problem. It's good that he fixed it, but, how much respect is that going to warrant? It would be if Poe saved them or solved the problem he didn't cause, it would make a lot more sense for them to respect him. But it would feel more like they should be all like, "Don't let this happen again, Panda." Pathetic. But no, they're just kind of they just respect him now. I don't know. So yeah, they could have done the villains a lot more justice. And another very bad thing is that, honestly, the chameleon's transformations into the villains, they were so short. The huge part of the advertising in this trailer was, the chameleon's going to turn into Shen, so Poe's going to have to fight Shen. Poe's going to have to fight Kai again, just in the form of the chameleon being them. Poe's going to fight Tai Lung again, but she doesn't remain in these transformations for any significant length of time, except for arguably Tai Lung, but it's still pretty brief. So we don't really get that awesome, conceptual rematch with them. This whole thing is just disappointing. It's just disappointing. They could have just done so much better. Tai Lung deserved a full-on redemption arc. He really did. So yeah, final thoughts. Kung Fu Panda 4 is disappointing. I mean, it could have been... The best way to describe Kung Fu Panda 4, honestly, is that it could have been a masterpiece, but we were robbed, man. We were robbed. Robbed of an amazing, compelling villain in the form of the chameleon being a lot better written. Robbed of a Tai Lung redemption arc. Robbed of just a movie that was on par with the first two films, man. We were robbed. I've heard stuff about they originally were going to make the movie better or yada yada, but crap happened and some stupid director took over and blah 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 and made a bunch of bad writing decisions. And if this is true, then, man, we were robbed. We waited 8 years. 8 years. This movie could have been a masterpiece. Man, this movie could have been a masterpiece. Now, that's not to say that there aren't things that are enjoyable about it. Like I said, there are some funny jokes. There are some good action scenes. There are some amusing, fun moments and whatnot. But at the end of the day, the best thing I can say about Kung Fu Panda 4 is that it is enjoyable trash. It's trash, but it's trash that you can look at and you can say, hey, I mean, the trash kind of looks interesting today, or the trash kind of looks maybe a little enjoyable today. Maybe there's some fun thing about this trash. So there is some good here, but there's so much butchering and botching. So at the end of the day, it's still trash, but, I've seen worse. There's worse movies out there. The movie's mid, average, okay. Calling it good. Originally, I was kind of like, it's kind of good. Yeah, calling it good is it's too generous. It's okay. It's okay at best. But for a Kung Fu Panda movie, by Kung Fu Panda standard, this is some low-key trash. But some quote-unquote enjoyable low-key trash. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and like, and watch more of our videos. And I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta!